ready to head off the trails. I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on an incredible journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We'd love to have you. And shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing intro music. I really appreciate that. All right, so you guys can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You guys can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress, where I have amazing live shows there twice a week. I have a Wednesday show at 1 p.m. Eastern that will blow your mind, you guys. I have some great guests and some great topics. And every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I have a show where I remote view some really weird stuff. And it's always a good time. So y'all come check out my my YouTube channel and subscribe. I also have uploaded all of my videos to Rumble, so you can find them there as well. All right, please, if you'd like to support what I do, you guys can go join my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. And I also have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods, where I sell beautiful vintage Native American turquoise jewelry and things like that. So you guys come check that out. I would love that. Also, I'm going to be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. That's this Saturday, all day Saturday. And there's also a VIP like meet and greet the night before, and you guys can get tickets to that as well. You get to come out, hang out with the Cryptid Huntress up in Dillard, Georgia at the Dillard House. And that is, let's see, I think I got a banner for that. Yeah, you guys can get your tickets at the GeorgiaBigfootConference.org. And yeah, please come see me. I have some special guests showing up for that, and some surprise guests that you guys probably know. And so I'll be taking pictures, and yeah, I do plan to come back Saturday night to broadcast live on Spaced Out Radio, okay, for the rest of the weekend. But yeah, please come see me up there. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a blast. Okay, y'all, I have a fantastic guest here at Spaced Out Radio tonight. I have Darkwoodz in the studio right this moment, and I can't wait to talk to him. Okay, don't forget that right after the show, After Hours has a great show set up for us. So let's get to our guest tonight. Okay, Darkwoodz lives in northern Wisconsin. His home sits by a large national forest that surrounds his house 360 degrees. After an experience in 2018, he became aware that cryptids are very real. He has Sasquatch and Dogman activity around his home and has gathered lots of evidence of them both. And I cannot wait to talk to Darkwoodz. I know his girlfriend, Primal Cry. She and I have talked many times. And so tonight, we're going to hear from the man himself, Mr. Darkwoodz. So welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight, Darkwoodz. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it looks like you're outside, Darkwoodz.
Yeah, I'm out in the woods.
Oh, very nice. Are those are the woods where you have Bigfoot and Dogman activity, right?
That's true. Right over here was when I did a show with Impromptu Truth. I think it's episode 11. We had a baby Dogman climb up on top of here. I have some photographic evidence of that and some new information not many people know about Dogman.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't wait to talk to you about that tonight. You have some amazing pictures that you sent me. And you know, a lot of times when you're on like Facebook, for instance, and people are showing pictures and they're circling the red circles and things, you don't really see them. Well, you can see what's in your pictures at Darkwoodz, and I 100% appreciate that. And we're going to show some of those tonight, so the audience can get a good view as to what you're experiencing. You and Primal Cry, your families are out there, and I want to hear about it. And let me tell you, I heard you on Paranormal Roundtable about a week ago with Josh Turner. I heard you mention my name, and and so I had to reach out to you because I honestly I think I remote viewed your property, but I didn't know it was your property. Tell me about
you did that actually through Primal Cry, right?
Yeah.
You did remote view our property, and she had asked some questions, and we coexist with the Dogman and Sasquatch out here. We don't have any trouble, and I think she asked if you could describe their MO, the way they are here. And you said that they're all about love and peace and stuff like that. And so far, that seems to be the case. I mean, I've had them, like I said, a couple of feet away from me. And I'm sure if there was a baby one there is probably an adult nearby.
Oh my
But
gosh.
but another aspect that you gave us was the fact that there were floating portals back behind our house. And, obviously those are portals that randomly show up or are randomly operated by these entities. And then there's across the street, there's an anchored portal. That one's permanent. And through you, and there's another lady by the name of Robin McCrae.
I know Robin.
We never told you that we connected.
Robin's going to be with me at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference on Saturday. She and I are both speaking there. Yeah, we're going to be together.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, she said the exact same thing that you said, what was going on around here.
Yeah.
With the photos and with the intent that the forest people here have. So that was pretty impressive. I was very surprised.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. Well, a lot of times when I'm remote viewing and I do pick up on a portal, I pick up on multiple portals. There's not only one in an area. A lot of times there's more. There's at least two or more. And so, yeah, I know it's been a while. So I've remote viewed a whole lot of properties. So I don't remember the exact property that I remote viewed for you guys. But yeah, I vaguely remember it, kind of, and I could not find it. I actually dug through all my remote viewing targets, and I have hundreds of them, so I couldn't find it. But yeah, I know that. Yeah, you have a lot of activity, and hey, kind of describe the area where you live and how you first encountered Dogman and Bigfoot on that property.
Okay, so the property here, if you go back about 15 minutes behind the house, you're already in deep woods. But when you go back 15 minutes, there's a decent river back there. I do a lot of musky fishing in there.
Okay.
And then on the other side of that river is a national marsh. It's a massive land area that's protected. You could do some hunting and stuff in there as well. Mm-hmm. But there's been Bigfoot sightings in there before. I've seen them on other newscasts from, I think, 1978 or something like that. Okay. Someone actually videotaped a Sasquatch out there. And but there's a lot of marsh, and then there's forest islands where we have a lot of big white pines, and birch, and poplar, and trees are just huge up here. They just go way up to the sky. Perfect place for those kind of people, but definitely when we have deer and bear and all kinds of other, porcupines, big porcupines that come through here. So, I mean, you just never know, even the natural animals that come through. Mm-hmm. And speaking of which, they've already sighted bear up here coming out of hibernation. So I got to kind of keep an eye on things and make sure stuff is good. Yeah.
I'll watch for eye shine. If I see anything, I will holler at you. I promise. Okay.
I appreciate that.
I'm watching. I got your 6.
Thank you. Some people actually had seen eye shine on previous shows. So that's another reason why I decided to do a show out here in the woods, because you just never know what would happen.
Well, you be careful out there. I mean, I'll have your back. I'm watching for you, but you've got so many things. There are so many beings. Now, have you ever felt threatened by any of these, I guess, creatures or whatever you want to call them, dogmen, Sasquatch?
Yeah, we call them all forest people.
Okay, they're all forest people. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, because in their DNA, they do have some human aspects in them. And definitely the Sasquatch shows a lot of intellect, and so does the Dogman as well,
Yeah.
But I've never felt any fear. I've had that one encounter that I sent the pictures to you about. Yes. That one, some pretty unusual things happened in that encounter, but there was never any sense of terror, fear, aggression, doom, or anything like that.
That's good.
And I do want to express to everyone else out there that's listening that these kind of conditions do exist. We coexist. We don't go out and be stupid out in the woods. Obviously we have a lot of respect with that. But at the same time, there's so many different entities. There's so many different other cryptids we probably don't even know about. But whatever the case is, even when it comes to, let's say, Sasquatch and Dogman, you just never know if there's one that has bad intent, because that's highly possible. They're just like
That's right.
people. You know, you have some bad ones and some good ones. So I
I
would just
agree.
all use discernment. This is a very serious situation, and you definitely have to use discernment.
I 100% agree with you, Darkwoodz. And you're a hunter. So you're out there with your probably a rifle and you protect yourself and you probably have weapons on you of some sort. Um, do you feel like that hinders you from having contact with the forest people, or do you think they have a healthy respect for you and you have a respect for them? Do you think that they know that?
I think initially that they automatically know that.
Mm-hmm.
If I do carry a firearm, like when I went out hunting, I had a 300 blackout with me.
Yeah.
And I just, said in my mind that I'm not out here to mess with you guys. I'm out here getting food. So I just leave it at that. At least I'll let them know. I'm sure they already know. But
Yeah.
usually when I'm out running around in the woods, unless like right now it's bear season, I might carry a sidearm or something. But um, for the most part, I just keep a K-bar on me. That's about
Yeah. Okay.
I
So,
got one.
oh yeah, I don't blame you, and I'm still watching behind you. Okay, in case something comes up and creeps up. Um, okay, so intuitively, do you feel like they can read you? And have you ever had any kind of communication with the tree or the forest people out there, like mind speak or something like that?
Yeah. With the encounter, which I call the group,
Mm-hmm.
consists of several different uh, forest people. Uh, Here's how this works. Right next to the house, we have a logging road that goes back, and they dug out a small section of woods. And up here, with all the pines and different stuff, the forest floor has got pine needles and things. And it's hard to really track stuff. But where it's cleared out a little bit back there, that's where I go because you can see tracks and you can find out where game is coming and going and whatnot. And then I also find a lot of evidence out there from tracks from Sasquatch and Dogmen as well. I have some photos of those. Actually found a 23-inch track back there from a Sasquatch, and later on through someone else who was a real good tracker had stated that it was about 26 inches long. So that put,
Ooh,
and I have a photo.
26 inches. Good
Yeah, I have a
grief.
photo of this guy. It's a no neck type of Sasquatch with massive shoulders. I would guesstimate he stands 13 or 14 foot tall. There's a busted birch that I took a picture of where he was standing next, and I was able to get the rough measurements of how tall it was.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh
they're
my
huge
gosh.
here.
That's huge. And the fact that you have a logging road, that tells me automatically that you're out in the middle of nowhere, basically, or a very
Yeah,
forested
well,
area, right? So
right, yeah. But as far as let's see, what was the question?
the logging road, you're just so far out in the middle of pretty much in the woods. And so these
Yeah.
these forest people have, that's their habitat, so I can understand. But I, from doing Bigfoot field research, I know that they do watch you. They probably, you're like a part of their family, probably. Okay, you just don't know it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they're watching me right now. Before the show started, I heard some wood knocks back there by the river. So there's a lot of canine activity last night with yotes, wolves. Yotes and wolves together, that's not normal because usually wolves will
Wow.
get rid of yotes. And I recorded some of that last night. But
Did you? Do you think that was
yeah.
Dogman? Do you think that was Dogman?
Um, I'm not sure. I do have some other audio that I think is Dogman, um, but I have to do some editing because recording on a cell phone is pretty faint. But you can definitely hear it if you have full volume earbuds. Or
Wow.
whatever the case was when I go back on the logging road, that's a better area to track because there's not much debris on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back there. I go back there all the time. I know the woods like the back of my hand back there. So one day I went back there, and it was in the spring again. It was in April 6th, I believe, and 2020. And I was walking back there, and I would stop, scan, look, walk, stop, scan, look. And I got out of the woods to where the logging area was a little bit open. And as soon as I walked there and I stopped, all of a sudden I got this thing. I never experienced it before. It's hard to even explain it, but it felt like something intruded into my mind, and it almost felt like something's going over my head. And I got this knowing. It was like something in my head was saying, there's something over here to my left. And when that happened at first, because I didn't have cryptids or anything, I'm looking for deer tracks. All of a sudden, I was like, yeah, right. I was thinking my mind was just goofing around, and then it came
Yeah.
on really stronger. And then all of a sudden, because it came on again, and it said, "There's something over here." And
Wow.
then when that happened the second time, I'm like, okay, something really is going on. And I need to be really aware and serious about this. So
Yeah.
I looked off to my left, and in the tree line, I seen something dark behind some trees. And I only seen one thing then. And so I ended up making a decision if I should get closer or not. I was concerned that it was maybe my sixth sense telling me there was a bear over there.
Yeah.
But I noticed that it wasn't moving and it was behind a bunch of trees. So I I didn't walk straight over to it to figure out what it was because that'd be kind of stupid. But I ended up I ended up walking and pretending like I didn't see him, and I kept him in my peripheral. And I'd meander my way closer towards them, and I'd pick things up and look at it, just like they're not there. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to get a photo of it. For some reason, I don't even understand this, but for some reason, I didn't want to look straight at it. But I could look through the side of my peripheral, and I could see like uh, I don't know, like a body part sticking out, which I
Okay.
thought was like a leg from a bear or whatever. But what I ended up doing was I took my phone out, my cell phone, and I didn't put it up to my face to take a photo because even with a bear, I thought I don't want to do anything different. I just kind of
Yeah.
wanted to be nonchalant about it. So I took the phone and I brought it up to my chest and I held it out sideways so it would face that way. And I was able to get a good squared off picture. And I just took a photo. And then I did the same thing going in as I did going back. I just kept pretending like I didn't see them. I kept them in my peripheral. They never moved. And then I
Smart.
finally left. Yeah, and I went home. And then when I downloaded the photo and I put it on the big screen, I couldn't even believe my eyes what I saw because the first thing I noticed was this wolf looking head. And then when I looked in the photo more, I noticed that this thing had a knee that was bent. It was crouching down and it was about 4.5 feet tall. It was jet black. And there was a knee bent out to the side of one of the trees that was hiding behind. And then off to the right of its head, there's a small tree. And when you zoom in on there, you could actually see its fingers and the claws on the end of the fingers. So there was
Whoa.
no paw. Yeah, that just blew me away. I can't even. It's amazing to find something like that, and because I've heard about them and I've done a lot of research, but to actually see that, and
Hmm.
then with that mind speak or whatever that was, that blew me away. It was just
Yeah.
insane.
Wow. Okay. Now, is that picture included in some of the pictures that you sent me today?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I think
Should,
that
shall
might
shall we
be.
look at some of them right now, or do you want to wait? I'm
Let's
excited.
do that.
I want to go look at some pictures. Actually,
Yeah. Let's
can
look
we
at
do
some
that?
pictures. I
Okay.
think
Because
that's
I
a
mean,
good idea.
we have so much to talk about tonight. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's look at some pictures. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Let's see here. Let me take the comment down so we can get the full effect here.
Sure.
Okay, so I appreciate from the bottom of my heart that you numbered your pictures because it made it so much easier for me today. This
There
is
you go.
a
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so we'll go to picture number one first. Okay,
Okay.
and you can kind of explain is this from the first time that you were out there and took that picture?
Yeah, this is the actual original photo.
Okay.
And notice the circle that I think it's marked number one. It's on the very far right. So that is the female dogman. And see how there's trees lined up that she's behind? There's like two big ones in front of her, then
Mm-hmm.
one back there. So when I was walking and getting close to take a photo, I made sure to make a landmark reference because this is super important about this fact later on when we discuss this photo. But I made sure there's a landmark there that I could come back to the next day so I could look for tracks of whatever this was. Because at first I thought it was a bear, and I never got to see bear tracks, so I wanted to check that out. And so the circle with number one on there, that is the female dogman. And we'll talk about the other circles later, but I'll tell you what they are. Circle number two on the far left, that's a baby dog man about 4.5, 5 foot up in a tree, looking around the tree straight at me. And the dog man, the one dog man in the circle number one, that's actually a female, and that's her baby there.
Mm-hmm.
And then circle number three, kind of in the middle on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
that one is the male dog man. He's built like Schwarzenegger. He's ripped. When we do some close-up photos, you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that's above him is an extremely large Sasquatch. I don't know if it's a male or female, but you can see the conical heads, the wrinkles in its forehead. Um, Pretty good shot. But what's
Wow.
interesting is all of these entities here, except for the baby dog man, have their eyes covered. Even the female dog man that's kind of looking straight on to me, she's got a little branch that covers her eyes, which is
Wow.
pretty cool because they know about eyes, how people see them in the woods.
Wow. Now, the other pictures, are they each close ups of each of these photos or of each of the
Yeah.
entities in here? Okay, let's go to the
Yep.
first
And
one
then,
here.
yep.
Okay, this is number two. This is one of the smaller ones, right? One of the dogmen.
This is actually the original one of the female dog because I
Okay.
did the big group photo. That's the original. So now this is the original of the female dog man. And so photo number three will show you a blue filtered and a white filtered one. And it's
You
more.
can see that face. You can see its face and its ears, its nose, its snout. You can see all of that in this
Yeah,
picture. I mean, I have thoroughly examined these pictures. They are pretty impressive, Darkwoodz. I can
thank you.
absolutely appreciate your pictures. Yes. And
Yeah, they're
listen, I
not.
never show pictures on my show. I but your pictures are really good. So
Okay,
we're
cool,
showing
great.
these. Yes, these are
Well,
great.
if people are in chat or watching, you can do a screenshot of this and then blow it up, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
see to the right in the picture to the right of her head. There's a little dark spot on the backside of a tree. You'll find that those are fingers, and you can see the individual claws on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Shall we go to picture number four? Let's see four.
There you go. So now that's the baby dog man. I did it in different filters too that you could see, but it's poking its head around the tree and it's
Mm-hmm.
looking straight at me. It was the only one of four that was actually making eye contact with me, but I didn't even notice the rest of these. I only seen the dog man and
Mm-hmm.
then the female one. And then later on, Robin McCrae, she pointed out the baby one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was there. And then, so we started going through the photo more intently, Primal Cry and I. And Primal Cry is my girlfriend, if anyone wants to know. She's got a ton of history and all kinds of information on dogs. She's got excellent photos too. Pretty soon we'll have those up in our group on Facebook. But
Yeah.
um, but either way,
That's
this
cool.
yeah, I didn't know all these other forest people were in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
So this photo here, you can see I outlined just to give a better idea because everybody's perspective is different. Some people see stuff right away and others don't.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is the male dogman, and you can see how huge its chest is and the
Mm-hmm.
arm that's down between the two white birch sticks. You can see there's an arm and there's actually a hand on the end of that arm.
Yeah,
But
it looks like it. It looks like it.
he's, he's built.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
heard of I've heard of the built ones. Now this one
Yeah.
is the Sasquatch that was right behind all the rest, and he's pretty big too, or she. I'm not even sure which one it is, but
Okay.
that's
Now,
that.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so
No. Now we're gonna go into the deep end, way left
this
on.
is the deep
Yeah,
end. Are these like
yeah,
extras? Okay, so this is extras.
yeah.
I couldn't see so well these. Like I see faces, but I was thinking, well, this could be pareidolia or something. But I don't know. I don't know. So we're going to entertain it. What do we have here? We have
Hold
some
on.
some extra faces up in here. So who knows? Listen, I've seen some weird stuff in the woods, Darkwoodz. Okay, so who knows? Wait, are you sideways?
Hey Jessica,
Yeah, can you hear
everything
me?
is screwed up all of a sudden.
Okay. Hey, if you need to, you can log out and then come back in if you need to. Okay. Hello. Hey, Darkwoods, if you need to, log out and then come back.
Yellow.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, if you need to, shut it down, log out. Oh, there you are. You're here. You don't even got to. You're good. We're
Yeah,
good to
I
go.
was.
As long as
Sometimes
nothing creeped up behind you and got you, we're good.
no, but
Okay.
sometimes they mess with the electronics out here. I'll tell
Oh,
you
I'm
that. That's
sure.
a quick story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, let's go back to this picture with the faces in it. Okay. What could this possibly be?
Here's the situation. I'm gonna
Okay.
put it out as basic as I can.
Okay.
So after the encounter, remember I told you I made that landmark reference? So I went back there the next day to check for the tracks. I even brought the phone with me. I knew exactly where this took place. And like I said, I
Okay.
know the woods, like no problem. So I went back there and there is no wood structures like you see in the photo. That doesn't exist back there. There was also faces on trees and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
if you look at some of these faces, like there's a stump and there's like a face with a nose and it's just really detailed. And then there's this bottom face down on the
Yeah.
bottom. It looks like a theater mask, kind of goofy. But
I've seen
the
them. Yeah.
yeah, there's like 36 faces in those woods. And that whole section of woods doesn't exist back behind my house. Like when I
What?
saw it
Really?
when I took the photo. Yeah. So the only thing I
Wow.
can come to conclusion is that when I went back there, they must have portaled in and they must have portaled a section of woods in because those woods, I've never seen those kind of woods there. I know what dead trees are. I know what busted ones are back there. I know the nice healthy ones. I know everything about the trees back there. And I'm telling you right now, all those trees that are in that photo do not exist back here. So the only thing I could think of, and because I got deep into portals, and you and Robin
Oh
had
yeah.
said portals, there's portals here, and from what I understand too, like on alternate reality near our,
Mm-hmm.
because I seen a video where a lady was walking down a trail and she was with friends, and all of a sudden her friends disappeared. Their
Mm-hmm.
footprints ended, but she was still there,
Yeah.
and she got messed up in that forest. And she said everything seems similar, but all of a sudden you'll have a lake here or something different than what your reality is. And
Mm-hmm.
I watched that video, and she finally went out of that portal and found help.
Yeah.
And her friend said that she just disappeared. So, from what I understand, the alternate reality has a lot of similarities like our world. So, there was a section of woods there. I never noticed the difference, because I was focused on what was going on at the time. But when I looked at the photos and everything, I'm like, yeah, I know where it is. And I went back there. I couldn't find where it was. then I brought up my photo on my phone, and I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing back here, tree structure wise, the way the trees are set up and everything
Yeah.
that that's in my woods.
Wow.
So
Well, I
that
can tell you from studying portals, and my team, we've experienced a portal. We sent people in. I'm not going to go into that story. I tell it all the time. So, but we do know that portals exist, and NASA. Uh-oh, is there something back there? You
yeah,
hearing
look,
something?
I
Uh,
just heard something.
okay.
It's,
Well,
yeah,
we know that our government actually studies portals, and they have
yeah,
very big knowledge on portals and where they open up. I know NASA has admitted to studying portals, and they utilize portals. I've looked into weaponized Earth's natural portals that have been weaponized as well. So there's certain times of day, there's certain times of the year where the solar flashes hit and things happen and portals open and close. And the ancients knew about this. That's why there are a lot of temples built in certain places all over the world. There are certain, let's just say, hotels and things that elite rich families own, where they know that there are sacred spaces and portals open, so they may or may not have jump rooms in those hotels, from what I hear.
yeah.
It's a thing, and who's to say that cryptids don't utilize these portals? I mean, I wholeheartedly believe they do.
They
And
do.
Yeah, and I believe they've got them on. You've got them on your property and all around you in that forest. So they're however they know, they have knowledge of these portals, Darkwoodz, and so
That's true.
that's how they're traveling, perhaps.
But haven't you noticed that the amount of sightings and cryptids have ramped up in the last 5, 10 years?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
Now,
been doing research for about 11 years, 12 years, and the sightings have ramped up absolutely, 100, especially Dogman. I never heard
yep,
about Dogman when I first got into this.
that's true. Well, there's a
Yeah.
lot of factors that are going on right now that's contributing to that. Because there's a lot of factual evidence that the Earth's core is slowing down. The sun is 7 times hotter than it was 20 years ago.
Uh huh.
So all those solar wind radiations, the North and South poles suck that up and bring it into the
Yeah.
Earth. And that's what gives life here. But it's overheating because there's too much, the sun's freaking out. So there's too much heat coming in. That's also what's causing these atmospheric river conditions out in
Mm-hmm.
California with all the snow and everything. But whatever the case is, things that live underground are getting pushed up because it's getting too hot underground. The other
Wow.
factor is with NASA, what I studied was whenever the solar winds hit the Earth, it wraps
Mm-hmm.
around the sides of the Earth. And when they crisscross in the back, those are called X points. And that's electron diffusion region areas. And in that is where you get portals opening up because it
Yeah.
rips open the magnetic field. Well, there's a lot of studies nowadays that the magnetic field is almost ready to collapse. And there's some theories, I would say there's theories that that magnetic field that we have, where the moon is up in the sky, it rides on the edge of the magnetic field. And
Wow.
supposedly, yeah, supposedly, they think that the another alternate reality is being held back by the magnetic field. So if it ever collapsed, there a lot of things can come through.
I mean, well, you got to think CERN, all these large hadron
Yeah,
colliders.
yeah.
Uh, what are they doing? What kind of role do they play in all of this? Because it seems as though we've got a lot of Mandela effects. We have a lot of cryptids being seen. We have total turmoil and chaos all over this world, and I think that it could potentially be linked to things like that.
Yeah, CERN has their hands in a lot of different things, and some of the
Hmm.
things you would never believe it that they're involved with, that you
Yeah.
wouldn't even connect it to. But yeah, they definitely have a lot going on over there.
Well, it's not just there. There's these hadron colliders all over the world. Apparently, from what I've been told, I think there's at least 30 of them all
Yeah,
over the world. Yeah. So,
and then
I mean, is it to bring more chaos into our world? I mean, is it to and you got to also wonder about like all these frequency weapons that we have as well, which are not only are we having more sightings of cryptids, but places like Alaska, where HARP is located up there, they are increasingly more violent against humans. Okay,
Yeah.
with the frequencies and the sound manipulation and all that kind of stuff. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look back in Alaskan history, way before all those kind of electronics got up there, those
mhm.
Sasquatch were pretty brutal,
Oh
you know?
yeah, Portlock,
So, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they were tearing
yeah,
people to shreds up there.
they sure
Yeah,
were.
they were. Now, speaking of pulling people apart into shreds and all that kind of stuff. Uh, so you mentioned Sasquatch working or being there in the midst of dogmen. Do you think that they
Yeah.
get along okay, or do they work together, or what's going on with that?
Well, in that group photo, all those entities were at least 20 feet apart in a group. And
Okay.
it was strange that when I went back there, that they mind spoke to me. And I didn't know what was going on. They didn't do anything else afterwards. So I think they were trying to see how I'd react,
Hmm.
because one of the big goals I have is to actually make some type of contact of communication with them. Because there's definitely some questions I want to ask, and I want to see what they have to say as well. Because it's strange. Why would they ask me, or why would they let me know they were there, unless they're trying to lure me into their portal trap or something? I
Right.
mean, I don't know, but so far, like I said, we've had no issues. Primal Cry seen one come out and run across the forest, across the logging road, and she could barely track it with her eyes. It was such a blur, so
Yeah.
fast. I mean, so they're all around. They haven't messed with us. So I think there was an attempt at first contact, and they just wanted to see how I'd react. But
Yes.
outside of that, we've never had any issues. We've heard, some of them. We call it the 300-pound owl. They make the hoot noise,
Yes.
but it's totally different.
Yeah, they're
Um,
trying to trick us to thinking that they're an owl or a cow or a horse or something, and it's so
yeah,
blatantly not that animal. It may sound like it for the first couple of seconds, but then I've heard a Bigfoot actually pretend to be an owl or something. I forgot what kind of animal it was trying to be, but it started laughing hysterically at the very end of it. And so
yeah,
it cracked every it was actually kind of funny. But
yeah, that would
yeah.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard in the middle of January, mallard ducks out in the woods. They're
Oh
not
yeah,
even
ducks.
around.
That's right. Well, because
Yeah,
that's where situational awareness comes into play, and you need to know the region where you're living or where you're researching, or for anybody who's out there researching and communicating with these forest people, you need to know your surroundings. Like, are there ducks in the middle of the mountains or whatever, or
yeah,
could there be a cow in a swamp? I mean, yeah, I guess there could be, but is it likely? No.
no,
you
no.
know, things like that. Now, since you live so close, your home is so close to this forest, and you have contact in the vicinity of your home, do they ever run up and hit the side of your house or leave you gifts or anything like that?
Yeah, actually both.
Okay.
We went out chaga hunting, me and Primacry, and I'll do this real quick, but when we were driving down another logging road, it was kind
Hmm.
of quite a ways, a couple miles, and she swore she seen one behind a bunch of trees, and they locked eyes, and then it moved its head right away, like, oh no, it saw me. And I said, well, it's probably going to parallel us all the way down to where we're going to get this chaga. And sure
Okay.
enough, we parked. I'm carrying a ladder through the woods, and I'd stop and look, and then pretty soon I saw a dark silhouette far straight ahead. You could see its head, and its arm was up like this, holding a branch, and
Wow. Yeah.
it was just sitting there watching us. And I told Primacry, yeah, we got company. So I scooted up that ladder and cut that chaga as fast as I could and got out of there. We left a offering of some tobacco and a pretty rock in a black velvet bag at the base of the tree. So that was on a Saturday. The following Saturday, I woke up and I had cut some 10-inch, 12-inch diameter birch into discs for a project. And they were sitting outside in front of the house. And when we got up, I noticed something jammed a stick, and they broke the stick to make it look like a human with its arms up in the air like this,
Oh yeah.
and it pressed it in the disc wood. There's no way I could press a piece of stick that's fragile in a hard piece of wood like that. And I don't know how in the world that happened. There's no way it fell out of the sky and made itself look like a human being, but it was jammed in there and it was facing towards the door with the arms open. And we took that as a gift back from the Sasquatch. And plus,
Wow.
Prometheus, she's got a lot of rocks that were left that we never had in the garden that just showed up, you know. So
Wow.
we've had that happen. And what was the other question?
Yeah, well, I was just wondering if they ever hit the side of your house too,
Oh,
like mess with your
yeah.
home.
So we had a bird feeder in front of the house, and underneath the bird feeder, Primal Cry's got an excellent, awesome landscaping with flowers and different plants and stuff, you know.
Mhm.
Looks really nice. And one day we woke up and the bird feeder, it's a long cylinder one with a glass uh, filler, and on the bottom is a metal tray where all the seeds come out.
Uh-huh.
So we found that bird feeder empty and it was on the ground where the flowers were. And
Yeah.
there's a big handprint in front of the house next to the feeder. And then there's a handprint on the corner of the house, 3 fingers, where it was like grabbing it and it leaned over and touched the front of the house. But it grabbed the feeder and it pulled it off of an iron ring that we had it hanging on, and it broke a screw, it bent it down. And then the next thing we noticed was the bottom tray where the seeds would come out. It looks like something took a finger and just bent the metal down so all the seeds would fly out the one hole.
Yeah.
And it was empty. None of the flowers were squished in the bed. So I could definitely rule out that it wasn't a black bear, because it would have came in, it would have destroyed the feeder, it would have destroyed the flowers. And then on top of that, the black bears don't have fingers. I have photos of the fingerprints on the hand and the finger marks, the 3 finger marks on the side. Just they look like
Wow.
humans but bigger.
Yeah, and they're
And then
usually really greasy, right? Like they're
yeah,
super oily.
it I still got, she was about 3 or 4 years now. I still have some of the fingerprints still on the side of the house. So it's
Oh
just
my
crazy.
gosh. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard to get rid of that stuff. They leave their mark for sure.
that's what I heard.
Yeah, we've come across lots of handprints and things doing research. So yeah, they're always super oily. So they definitely don't exfoliate before they go to bed at night. You know,
You
that kind
you
of
guys
stuff.
do a lot of research in Georgia, or a
Yeah,
lot of okay.
absolutely. I do. I've been doing field research for since 2011. And I'm on 3 different teams, so we actually research all over the South. But as far as Bigfoots go, we have more Bigfoot activity in North Georgia and the North Georgia mountains than
Oh
anywhere
wow.
I've ever been. Yeah, tons of Bigfoots up there. A lot of we never hardly ever don't have activity whenever we go out
Oh,
up
I
there.
bet that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference this Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, and so is Robin McCrae. She's in the chat. Hey, Robin, I'm going to
Yeah,
see
hey
her. I'm going to
Robin.
see her on Friday night and all day Saturday. We're going to be hanging out. So we're both speaking there on Saturday.
Oh, that could be
Um,
exciting.
yeah, it's so exciting. And actually, in that area, it's in a place called Dillard, Georgia. It's near Clayton. That's a really great research area. If anybody's looking for, wanting to get into Bigfooting or just go have an experience, don't go alone. I don't ever recommend anyone
Yeah.
going alone, especially if you've never done it before. But yeah, the North Georgia mountains, Helen, all the mountain areas, Ella, you can find some Bigfoots up there. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
bet
and
that's
and
beautiful.
it's beautiful. Yeah, we've only had a few experiences of, I guess you can call them ornery or mean Bigfoots. They're usually harmless, to us, and just out there
Okay.
to just kind of mess with us,
Because it seemed to me like a lot of the ones in the South had some kind of temper, like the
We
ones
do,
up
yeah, the
north are more
alphas,
chill.
yeah.
Okay.
Some of them do, yeah. I mean, we all get a temper sometime. I know. I mean, I can get a temper. No, I'm just kidding.
No, not
Look,
you.
it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Okay, I may not want people trespassing on my property either.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so they're just like it's like humans, very similar. But
yeah.
with my experience out in the field, experiencing Bigfoot, Sasquatch, I have linked it too because we have the experience of having UFOs and the
Yeah.
portals and all sorts of other supernatural stuff that's going out there. Now, do you guys have other supernatural things happening, especially when it comes to the Bigfoots and Dogman out there?
Well, I think the other day I thought I might have seen a cloaked UFO really low cruise over the house, but I can't really say for sure. Definitely super silent. But we've also seen orbs floating around in the woods back over that way. Primal Cry and I seen it for like
Orbs.
20 minutes. It was a big silver orb ball. When I looked on it on infrared night vision, it wouldn't even pick it up. I couldn't pick it up on my cell phone. And then I grabbed some binoculars and I looked at it. And it was bobbing through the woods about 100 yards back into it. And then it would bob its way back towards us. And you could see it glue tree bases and branches as it went by. And I used my binoculars and I looked at it up close. And it was a silver bluish energy ball there was like sparks coming off, but it wasn't sparks. It was like chips, like square chips falling off of it on each side.
Uh-huh.
It was the weirdest thing I ever seen. And to me, that actually was freakier than seeing Dogman or Bigfoot.
Well,
I just think,
orbs are curious. Okay, they're very it's different because there's so many different types of orbs. The last time I saw an orb in the woods, it was like an orangish color, and as soon as I saw it move through the tree line right in front of me, there was a huff, like a growling huff, of
well,
what I assumed to be a Bigfoot. I didn't see it, but it wasn't. It wasn't a bear. I shined my flashlight up. There was no bear there or anything. It could have been a bear, but I didn't see one. But I also didn't see a Bigfoot. But I assume it was a Bigfoot. Uh, that and I can't say like did the orb turn into a Bigfoot? I mean, I don't know, but they were there together.
yeah,
The phenomenon happened in sequence. Okay, so there was a connection. What that connection is, I don't know.
true. Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
also seen what I would call Fae. I had an extremely large eye. I would say this tall and about this wide. That was up in a tree about 20 feet away from me. It was up a tree about 25 feet. I didn't even know it was there. And I was scanning around because there was wolves in the back here. There's massive wolves here,
Uh-huh.
But I for some reason I looked straight up and my spotlight stopped right on the eye. It was non-reflective. Didn't have any eye shine at all. It
Hmm.
had the whites of the eyes like we do, but it had a big black pupil and it was
Yeah.
just staring down at me. And we stared for like 30 seconds, and then I seen its pupil move over like this, and then I seen you couldn't see the head because it was all blacked out from the night.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what it was. But the eye was it was too big to be a Sasquatch, and it was kind of dragon shaped. I would say it was weird. And then another time I have a game trail cam that's down at the end of the logging road, and the beginning of the logging road comes into our driveway. So I came home from work and I seen this thing that looked like, because it was in the fall and the hummingbirds up here, they leave early, and it was like
Yeah.
2 months after they left. I seen this thing buzzing around in front of my game trail cam and it looked like a hummingbird because you know how the wings move? But
Yes.
these
Fast.
wings yeah, these wings were like a foot long on each side of it. And the body was like 10 inches long and it looked like a shriveled up cucumber, is the best I could describe. I don't know what it was, but it was buzzing up and down. And I stopped my truck and I was like, what the heck is that? And I thought it was on the
Wow.
game show cam, but it was off to the side of it. So I never got it on the game show cam. But then all of a sudden it took off and it flew away just like a hummingbird does, just and it disappeared in the woods.
Okay, that's odd. That's very
There-
odd.
There's
But I do
weird,
hear about fairies and stuff, so it could be. And not all fairies are beautiful like Tinkerbell, right?
right? Yeah,
Some of them look like
exactly.
wrinkled cucumbers.
Yeah, well, it goes to show that there's a lot in this world that we really don't know.
Thank you. Absolutely, especially if we got portals opening up and whatever's coming in and out of them from whatever dimension. We don't know honestly, with all the research that I do out there, my team and I think we have more questions than answers. with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get way more questions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it just gets more weird, Darkwoods. It gets more weird every time we go out there. Yeah.
It
I
sure
might be going
does.
out there this weekend. I don't know. We're going to see. I'm going to be at that Bigfoot conference. So might as well go Bigfooting, right?
Heck
So,
yeah, I would for sure.
yeah. We're going to see. I don't know. We're going to get a crowd up this weekend. But yeah, we do have a lot of fun. Now, there's something that you did mention that I do relate to, that you said that you didn't want to look whatever it was in the eye. You right? You said
Yeah, yeah.
you came face to face with a potential dogman, Sasquatch. You didn't want to look it in the eye. Okay, one of the first experiences I ever had out in the field, I had actually walked right up to a tree line. I'd had an experience where something knocked my legs out from underneath me as I was walking.
Wow.
I was bait. Okay, I was being bait,
Wow.
which is kind of a rite of passage when you're joining a Bigfoot team. Okay, and so I was being bait, and I was walking up this like open field, and something ran up. I thought it was one of the guys tricking me, like trying to scare me, and running up behind me, knocked my legs out from under me, and kept going. But there was nothing there. There was no one there,
Wow.
and so I kind of I've lost my balance for a second, but then I just kept walking, and I was thinking, well, I had to be tough, right? I had to be tough, and I had all these guys watching me through their FLIRs down at the bottom of the hill, and when I got up to the top of the hill, there was a point to where there was Bigfoot activity that night right in front of me, and but for whatever reason, I felt the urge to turn my back to it or something. It was so odd. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
I felt as though I didn't want to look right at it. I turn my back. That's like the last thing you do, okay? If you have like a predator in
Yeah.
front of you or something. But I did not want to. I didn't want to look at it. It was almost like a respect thing or something. It was
It's an
weird.
innate, it's an innate
Yeah,
feeling that you felt, and I
yeah,
felt the same thing. And I've heard things where, if you stare at them in the eyes, A, it could get them upset. B, there's this thing where you're tagged, is what they call it. I've heard that a lot in the
yes,
cryptid community. So they know where you are, you're marked or whatever. But then in a scientific way too, I've also understood some people in this community have brought up quantum entanglement. So now that you've
yeah.
locked
That's me.
eyes, I mean,
I'm all quantum entangled.
yeah,
That's me. That could be my nickname, the quantum entangled cryptid huntress.
there you go. Yeah, you have enough experience, I'm sure.
I do. I have a little bit. That's funny.
But yeah,
Yeah, I
totally.
always the best book ever written on Bigfoot, in my opinion, is Quantum Bigfoot by Ron
Yes,
Moorhead. Yeah, that's a
yes.
great book.
Yep.
I
I
highly
think that's
recommend
all.
that. I'm
He's
not
on it.
sponsored by that, but I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, he's
I love
definitely
Ron.
on it. Yeah. But it's true. I mean, to me, like we mentioned earlier, I don't think I answered your question, but there is a
Hmm.
Sasquatch with Dogman. And
Hmm.
that photo shows that they do hang out. I've heard it from other people before. Other times too, I've heard them fighting each other. And, like I said, it's just like people. I mean, they're both highly intelligent, definitely intelligent. And the thing is if they're that way, I'm
Hmm.
sure that they have services they do to each other, or I'm not sure about friendships or anything like that, but let's say a Bigfoot has a big clan and they got about a bunch of juveniles or infants and things, and maybe they made a pact with some dogmen to patrol or secure areas. I mean, we have no idea,
Could be. It could be. They could be in a forest gang. They're getting initiated or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
there's
never
no
know.
telling. We don't know what they're doing. They're just,
That's
it's
true.
almost like, it's they've got their own thing going on, and they could be very much like humans in some way. And I do think that whatever ran up behind me that night, it could have been a juvenile getting initiated into the let's trick the humans gang or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. There's a lot of counting coop and
Hmm.
stuff like that, and
Yeah,
the juveniles are definitely into that kind of stuff. We had some juvenile experiences here for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
They got a sense of
There's
humor.
Yeah, I mean, and those small dogmen that you've had on your in the pictures and crawling up the wood pile behind you. Not right now. You're safe. I'm watching for you.
Yeah,
But they could be doing a rite of passage of some sort. By even
yeah,
interacting with you.
that's true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What do you have planned for your property? Are you planning on staying there, and are you living harmoniously with the Dogman and Sasquatch?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be here for some time, and you know, it's I don't consider myself a researcher or anything like that. I just live here and I do what I do, and they're here and they do what they do, and I find it fascinating. Sometimes it could be uh maybe too much, because it's just like crazy, but it
Yes.
is definitely interesting, and since it's there, I mean, why not get photos or evidence and things and let other people know that they're there, because I was one of those people who I knew the name of Bigfoot, but I didn't give it much credit. I didn't think much about it. And I'm like, oh, it's possible. And that's about it. But once you encounter these things and, I've had rocks thrown at me, I've had them, we were doing a bonfire once and there's some juveniles that were across the river and they were making coyote sounds, but it didn't sound right. It was
Right.
off. And I told Primal Cry at the fire, I'm like, who the heck is out? Because no one's out at night out here. There's too many predators. So who the hell would be out there at night walking around in the marsh on the other side of the river?
Not not
So
not anybody with sanity, probably.
no.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I got this call blast that I do, and I hold my breath and I let it out, and it makes this big oof sound, and you can
Mm-hmm.
hear it echo far away. So I just did that, because I didn't think much of it. I just like silly people.
Yeah.
Right after I did that, um, we heard those coyote sounds on the other side of the river behind the house. And it would take quite a stretch of time, especially crossing the river and going through a marsh and then getting on this side of the river. It happened in like seconds. All of a sudden, after I did
Yeah.
that, they're right behind the house making noise. Then the next thing you know, they're in the trees around the bonfire, banging on the trees.
Oh my
And
gosh.
there was three of us, and it was bam, 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 bam. It just sounded like
Yeah.
we were surrounded. And it was so freaky
Wow.
that Primal Cry said, yeah, she's going inside. She's bringing a dog and everything in.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to stay out here and try to figure this out, because it kind of calmed down. So they left. And then I had a fire going, and all of a sudden, it was a big raging fire. All of a sudden, it whittles down to like a candle flame,
Oh
like
my gosh.
super,
Energetically, they messed
yeah,
with it.
super,
Yeah.
super fast.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in the pitch black. I can't even see my hand for my face. So I'm just standing there and I'm listening because I'm trying to hear, because it's in the winter, there's 3 feet of snow. I'm trying to hear
Yeah.
if there's movement and stuff. And I couldn't hear nothing. Then the weirdest sound I ever heard, and that guy, Steve Dizdar
Uh huh.
from How to Hunt, I
Okay.
heard, he's the only guy I heard that experienced this. But
Okay.
I was standing there and I heard what sounded like, a grouse when they take off, they make that drumming sound.
Yes. Yep.
We had them up here, but this wasn't that. It was similar to that, but it sounded like wet fingers going on a chest super
Oh my
fast,
gosh.
and it
So
lasted
primate-ish,
long.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my gosh.
lasted a long time. And how I'm talking to you and
Mm-hmm.
everything, if you were next to me and we're talking, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to hear you because that's how loud it was.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then
Right.
when a grouse takes off, it's strong and then it fades away when it flies.
Right.
But this was constant, the same volume, and it was super precision. And it blew me away just listening to it. And
Yeah.
it did this for about a minute, minute and a half. And then towards the end, before it stopped, I was picturing like something banging on its chest, and I was thinking challenge. I'm like, oh, I better get out of here. So
Yeah, well, I listen. We have completely run out of time tonight, Darkwoodz. I can't. I am so sad. I want to keep talking to you about this, and so promise me you'll come back, and we'll do a part two to this very soon, okay?
yeah,
Because I know
anytime.
you've got so many stories. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Oh
want
my
more
gosh.
pictures, more evidence. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
I love your evidence. I love your pictures. There's clearly, it looks like a dogman in those pictures. Okay. And if it didn't, I wouldn't have shown them tonight. Yeah. So I'm thoroughly impressed. Thank you to Primal Cry, your girlfriend. You guys are just the best. And I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad that you've been safe all night. Nothing came up and crept up behind you tonight. So
Yeah, I heard a few
live
things, but I
action.
couldn't pick up.
Yes, we got live action tonight. Well, Darkwoodz, thank you so much for being here. You are amazing. Stay safe out there. Okay. And come back and see me soon. Okay.
Hey, thanks a lot. Anytime.
Okay, awesome. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. We'll see you next
too.
time.
Take care,
Okay, bye. All right, y'all. After Hours is actually live right now, so please go over there and hang out with them. I am going to be back next weekend, you guys. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys next time on Off the Trails. I'm going to have Tim Senor on here he does the UFO report here on spacedoutradio. And of course, I'll be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference on Saturday. I hope you guys will all come join me. Everybody stay safe out there. Lock your doors tonight. I love you guys. I'll see y'all on my channel, The Cryptid Huntress, on Wednesday. Please subscribe. Okay, good night.